my name is Ken Oliver. I am an artist, and I'll be doing a video today demonstrating a stencil from the Crafters Workshop, and I'm going to show you two quick things you can do with the same stencil. It's going to be really nice. The stencil is called Majestic Forest, and it is a brand new stencil. It looks like this. You can find that at kenolivercrafts.com. And we'll be doing one look that is a watercolor wash with the silhouette in front of it. And I'll be doing a second look that uses another new product called Stardust Butter that will be very glittery and shimmery. So I'm super excited about getting started. I'll turn my camera down and we'll get started. Hey Beth, how you doing? Now, I can't see if there are a lot of folks here. If you will, do me a favor when you join in, say hi, let me know that you're watching, and let me know where you're watching from. I would love to see that too. There we go. Yeah, give me some thumbs up. I'd like to see that. Or a heart, let me know. But say hi, let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to see that. It's always fun to me to see where folks are watching from. Because a lot of times we get viewers from all over the place. And by all over the place, I mean like Europe and the UK. And I forgot to get a medium out, so I'm getting one out right now. On the first look we're going to do, I'm going to use ColorSparx first to create a watercolor wash. I've got a 6x6 piece of watercolor paper, and I'm going to use a few colors of ColorSparx to create an ombre effect or a rainbow effect on the background. And I want to use Gamboge. I would like to use cerulean blue. I would like to use wisteria and some marigold. And that'll pretty much get me to where I need to be. What I'm going to do is create what looks like a sunset. I want to make it from brilliant orange colors down to a dark color at the bottom. So, and I actually want to have some dark at the top too. So to get started, I'm going to use a watercolor brush. This is a number 12 round. And I'm going to apply a little bit of water to my dry watercolor paper. And I want to get just a little bit of this wisteria at the top. And I'm using ColorSparx. If you haven't used it before, it's a watercolor powder, and it's really, really intense. It's super concentrated and very, very intense. I'm going to put a little bit of cerulean blue too, because I want to get like some deep color up at the top of this. And then I'm just going to wash this in and let this flow down the page. I'm going to grab a little more water. I'm going to wash out my brush at the same time so I can get this to be lighter. Because I'm going to go right into a Gamboge now, and I want they're going to be, this blue and this yellow are going to be pretty much like touching. So I don't want to have it so that there's a lot touching, because I don't want to have a big swatch of green in my sky. I'd like to have it transition nicely. and they can transition without blending a lot of green. See how easy that was? And we're even getting some bloom back in here where some water kind of like was on the paper and it bled back or intruded back into the color, and it gives us a watercolor bloom. And I think that is just really, really pretty to see. And now some Marigold. And I'm fine if the Marigold and the Gamboge touch, because they will create a brilliant, brilliant look. And I've got a little bit of fuchsia. I'm going to bring some fuchsia into this so that we can get like a nice dark red at the bottom. So we've just created a beautiful watercolor wash with an ombre look using ColorSparx. If I want to let this work a little more, I can angle it up like this and let gravity play with that. And water that's on my paper is actually going to flow down with gravity. You can see it kind of piling up at the bottom there. And that lets those colors blend kind of naturally without me having to do a whole lot to the paper itself. Just let the gravity and the water do its work. So I'm going to try this real quick. And I like how this looks. And this is going to be very striking because we're going to put a black silhouette on top of this. Everything I'm using today you can find at kenolivercrafts.com. So now you see that beautiful kind of rainbow effect. It's actually going to be our sunset. I'm going to check my camera real quick just to make sure that we're still on and everything's cool. Great, I see we got folks from Virginia and New Zealand and Ohio and Illinois. So look, that background is so pretty. I love how brilliant it is on the camera. It's just gorgeous. So the new stencil that I'm going to use is called Majestic Forest from the Crafters Workshop. Just like that. And I'm also going to use a stencil butter that is called Black Tie. My paper did curl a little bit, so I'm going to dry this a little more. I'm also going to correct a little mistake. Some water here kind of like collected the edge and like changed my color. So I'm just going to trim this a tiny bit. And I mean literally just a tiny bit just to get that excess color off of there. And while I have the paper trimmer here, I'm going to go ahead and trim the mat that I'm going to use down to size. Since my dimension changed with my watercolor paper, I need to change the mat I'm going to mat onto. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. And if it's your first time here, welcome. And if it is your first time, make sure that you like my video and make sure to follow me or subscribe so that you'll get notifications whenever I go live. Now, see how pretty that's going to look. That's going to be so nice. I'm going to set my mat to the side. And I'm going to position the stencil. It's called Majestic Forest. And, oh, it's just going to be perfect on this watercolor wash. I think this is going to blow you away when you see how pretty it is. You're going to want to go out and create this yourself. And what a beautiful card this is going to make. You know what? If you didn't want to use it as a card, this could be framed as a piece of art because it's going to be that pretty, trust me. And I saw that some of my friends were watching. I saw Chris from North Carolina. I saw Terry from Virginia. And those are the names I saw just quickly. I know that there are a bunch more. I really love this stencil. It is so pretty. Now, I'm going to use Black Tie Stencil Butter. Black Tie Stencil Butter to create our silhouette. And if you haven't used Stencil Butter before, it is, oh, so dreamy. Look at that. Stencil Butter is a really smooth consistency, almost like room temperature butter, and it spreads so easily. So for using it on a stencil, it's fantastic. So I'm going to grab just a little bit out. But what's also remarkable about Stencil Butter is that it has just a little bit of a sheen to it. This is a really fine stencil. So all that says to me is that I want to do my work and do it really fast. I want to keep my palette knife at a 45-degree angle. I don't want to like really mash this super hard, and I don't need to go over it 100 times, because really all I want to do is create a layer of stencil butter on top of my watercolor paper. And like I said, this is a highly detailed stencil. So like the flatter I can keep my knife at a 45-degree angle, that's what I mean, that will allow us to get like a really crisp impression from this stencil. So I just keep my knife at a 45-degree angle so that the edge of the blade just kind of like glides along the surface of the paper. So this is the time whenever like it gets really quiet when I'm doing a video, because I have to pay attention to what I'm doing to make sure that I, you know, am being neat. I'm going to put my cap back on. To clean my knife, because I like to keep my tools nice and clean. And at this moment, I am saying a prayer, because I've never used this stencil before, and I'm praying that it comes out just perfectly. I'm going to use my palette knife to pick up my stencil. Ooh, and look how pretty that is. That turned out so nice. Isn't that nice? Now, you know, a couple of areas here was a little bit thick with the stencil butter, but that's okay. You know, like if you look at it, you're not going to know. You probably wouldn't know that I was thick with my stencil butter there unless I told you. So I'm going to use the heat tool to dry this, and I'm going to do that with one hand, and with the other hand, I'm going to clean my stencil, because we're going to use the same stencil for a different look, and I need it to be pristinely clean for this next thing. I'm making sure to keep my heat tool moving around so that I'm applying heat evenly and not getting too close to my paper, because the heat tool does get pretty hot and can catch things on fire. So I'm just being very careful to move this around. Also, if I leave this in one place too long, my stencil butter could react and start to bubble up. And I really would rather keep it as flat as possible for this. There are some things where absolutely I love to create that texture and bubble my stencil butter, but for this one, I want to keep it as flat as possible. I usually keep a stencil bath at the side of my work table that is basically just a Rubbermaid or a Tupperware container filled with water so I can wash stencils off as I'm working. It's still a little bit tacky, so I'm going to have to keep drawing. I know that's not the most exciting thing to listen to. And since it's a live video, I can't really speed this up. I could pretend like I've speeded it up, but I did not. Feels pretty dry. I'm gonna blot my stencil dry over here, and I got most of the stencil butter off. You can see like there's still a little bit on there, but that's all right. And I'm going to dry a little bit on the back. Now my next step with this is going to be to mount this on a piece of black cardstock that I just pre-cut to be the size of the, or just a little bit, it's about an eighth of an inch all the way around, bigger on each side. And since this is watercolor paper, I'm going to give it a little bit of extra adhesive here just to make sure that we get good adhesion. Now I'm going to turn that over and brayer it on all edges with my hand. And just look how beautiful that is. Now I'm going to put this on a 6x6 white card base, and I haven't decided about if I'll put a sentiment on the front of it. I really like the way that this looks as it is, without anything. So like without anything, it could be, you know, like an all occasion card. It could be just the thinking of you card, or miss you, or it could basically be any, or let's go camping. But very, very pretty. So that's the first way that I plan to show you how to use the stencil to create a watercolor wash on the background. and then using Black Tie Stencil Butter, create a silhouette of the trees against that sunset background. It's very pretty. Now put that aside, and the next way we're going to do is to create a silhouette, kind of the same idea, but on a black background. And this time I'm going to use a Pearl White Stencil Butter from the Crafters Workshop. This is a new product and it's so much fun to use. It is spreadable, but it's like glittery at the same time. And I'm going to give it a good stir. And this is so far one of my favorite mediums to use because it's so shimmery. Just making sure that I got my horizon line straight. And I'm going to tape that down just so we don't jump around while we're applying our Stardust Butter. And I have a feeling that this pearl white on a black background is going to be very elegant. In fact, to me, this looks like it could be a winter Christmas greeting or holiday greeting because of it. It's like complete simplicity. It will be so elegant. There are 4 colors of this new Stardust Butter. There's Pearl White, there's Marcasite, there's Champagne Gold, and what we're working with, Pearl White. I might have said one twice. There's Champagne Gold, Pearl White, Platinum, and Marcasite, which is almost black. Isn't that nice? And they're all available at kenolivercrafts.com. This has so much stardust in it. You can hear it's almost like gritty. Gritty's not the right word, but it has a texture to it, and it's just the amount of stardust that's in it. I can already tell this is going to be so pretty. And you can see I've used this Stardust Butter so much that it's almost empty. I mean, and it's not unlike me to use a full jar of medium ever. I do that all the time. But this one, like, this is pretty much brand new. And oh, I love this Pearl White. It's so nice. Look, I also did some other pieces the other day with Pearl White. See if I can find that quickly. There was one I did that had a Dragonfly. This is Random Bubbles. That's a ton of fun. This was a nice Christmassy, that is Champagne Gold on black with a Holly Cardinal. So now I'm going to take off the tape. Oh, that is elegant. That is so elegant. And look at that. And what, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but it's like very, very shimmery. So I'm going to dry this with the heat tool, and that'll take me a couple of minutes to do. Look how nicely it picked up all of those crisp details. I absolutely love these new Stardust Butters. There's so much magical, so many magical things you can do with it. Here's another piece I just found that is a Dragonfly. It's made of pearl white on a black background. So while I was chatting away and not watching, I got my heat tool a little bit too close and held in one place too long, and my Stardust Butter started to bubble up. So I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to go back in here then and start letting this Stardust Butter bubble up, so we get that extra dimension and texture on this. And that's kind of nice since it is a monochromatic card, and it basically is just black and white. There's really no color in it. To have this texture will be an added feature. And the Stardust Butter actually bubbles beautifully. Sorry about that alliteration. Now I want to check it just to see. You can see where the butter has bubbled, and it is so very textural. I'm going to just get a little more so that we make sure it's completely dry. Isn't that pretty? So I've cut, to go with this, a piece of silver mirror cardstock, and I've got my white 6x6 base here. So I'm going to mount this first onto a piece of mirror cardstock. And this is going to be so, this is so elegant. And I put some extra adhesive on it because it is going onto mirror cardstock, and we want it to stick really well. I'm going to brayer that super just with my fingers. And that's already looking like so sharp, that pearl white on silver. We're going to put this onto a 6x, sorry, it's a 6x6 base. I was making sure that I was getting my adhesive in place, and when I'm doing that kind of thing, I forget to talk. Just wait to see how pretty this is. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So you've got your Majestic Forest stencil in pearl white Stardust Butter on silver mirror cardstock on a 6x6 white card base. Isn't that fantastic? It looks very, very festive and very elegant. So just to recap what we did today, we created 2 looks with one stencil. The first look, we created a watercolor background with watercolor paper and ColorSparx, and then used Black Tie Stencil Butter to create a silhouette on that sunset background. And then the second one, we used a monochromatic look. It's basically just black and white with Stardust Butter, Majestic Forest, and on black cardstock. It's really, really nice. So that's what I've got for today. I think I'm in the camera view there. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to like and share this video. And if you have a comment or a question, please leave that in the comments below, and I try to answer them when I can. Everything that I've used today is at KenOliverCrafts.com.